This is Monday Market Update, the first one of the year. It is live for the second time because I just did it, and when I went to post it, I lost it, and because it's live, it wasn't saved. So here I am again. If you watched it earlier, great. You saw it before it's gone forever. This time I might download first before I go to post. Maybe I learned my lesson. So back to it. Monday Market Update, the first one, take two of the year. Today is January 19th. My last Monday Market Update was November 3rd. I took kind of a long break, longer than I wanted to, but it seemed like every time I was planning to do it, something came up and it was, maybe I just needed a break. So I took a break. A lot has happened since then. We're in a new year, like I've said. I'm older, a year older since November 3rd, and my two kids are older. We all have birthdays within 20 days of each other, the two kids and me. So it's a really busy time from about November, December to first part of January. In December, for the U.S., the median home price, median sales price for December, United States, $399,950. So $400,000 is the median sales price in December for the U.S., and it took 73 days to sell. So those are median numbers for the nation. The top 5 metros, according to the podcast that I listen to, BAMETS, Realtor.com is where they get some of their information. They get it from some other resources. So they check everything. They're a great podcast. Love them. BAM Hot Sheet. 5 metros where prices are falling the fastest. And number 1 is the Austin, Round Rock, San Marcos is what they say is our metro area. We had a decrease in sales prices at 7.3% for the year. Or year over year. So 7.3%. It's due to increased inventory. That is the reason that they gave. Number 2 was San Diego at 6.7. And the reason, high insurance and HOA costs. Number 3, San Jose, 5.5% reduction in prices year over year. And it's because it costs less to rent than to buy there. Minneapolis, 4.9%. That's number 4 out of the top 5 metros where prices have fallen. And that is due to monthly affordability. They're sitting on low rates there. I mean, I know a lot of us are, but it must be concentrated there. That's the best I could find out from that article. Number 5 is Washington, D.C., 4.8%. And that's uncertainty in the job market in Washington. So the highest one was the Austin area at 7.3%. We were also one of the hottest markets. So it's not great. I'm not going to say that it is, but it's due to how much inventory we have, which I've been talking about in every Monday Market Update is how much inventory we have. Texas and Florida in particular. There are still places in the United States that are hurting for inventory, but not the Sun Belt states and certainly not Texas and Florida. Our local inventory, where are we? So I went ahead and looked at January 2024, and in January 2024, our local inventory, Bastrop County, single family residences, we had 563 active listings with the median price at $400, right in line with the U.S., and median and days on market was 110. I mixed these up, so in 2025, I don't have the days on market. Actually, I do. It was 110 again. I'm just now remembered because I rewrote my notes. We're at the same, 110 days on market. We have more inventory in 2025 in January than we did in 2024. We're at 687 active listings compared to 563 last year at this time. Our median is 400 and our 400. So pretty in line where we were last year, just a little bit more listed for sale. Now here's what I have heard this statistic at a couple of events I went to and a couple of podcasts I've heard, and I wanted to dive a little deeper into it because it really just seemed crazy to me. So, NAR has reported that we are at the lowest level since 1995 in number of transactions for the year. 1995. They have us at 4.06 million transactions for 2025. So I wanted to take a bigger look at that because that seems like 1995, 2005, 2015, 30 years. So I said, let's take a little look at NAR. I ran some numbers and I said, let's look at 1995, 2005, 2015, and 2025 so we can kind of see how that looks. In 1995, there were 4.19 million transactions. The U.S. population at that time was 266 million. Now, we're at 4.06 right now, but the year just ended, so I'm sure that's kind of like a rough estimate, but pretty close. 2005, big year, 7.0. 7 million. We did 7 million transactions in the United States in 2005, and at that time, the population was 295 million. In 2015, 5.26 million, population 321. So we went down. 2005 was kind of that ramp up to 2006, 2007, no doc loans. It was a hot market. 2025, 4 million, U.S. population 335 million. So we're looking, if you take the statistic they've used, which is the numbers from 1995 to 2025. In 1995, 4.19 million transactions, single-family residence, U.S. population 266 million, versus 2025, 4 million, U.S. population 335 million. It's been a couple of years of really kind of a flattening of the market. Like it's, especially in our area, it's less transaction, less movement, lots of different reasons for that. Still lots of growth in Bastrop County, still growth in Austin. Things are still moving. But if you know a real estate agent and they're still here in 2026, they worked really hard in 2024 and 2025. It's been tough, and it's been tough for sellers as our inventory has increased. But we're looking at getting possibly a little bit of relief from that, and I'll get to what I think for 2026. I know things had to go back in direction down some from where they were at the height, and we'll get to those numbers as well. So let's look at Bastrop through the years. So I took the years of sales from 2019 to now. 2019 is what I've heard referred to by other real estate people and by the experts and the coaches and the people that do this numbers game for a while, that 2019 was kind of our last quote unquote normal market. So in 2019, we had 982 sold in Bastrop, single family residence, so 982 transactions. And the median price in 2019 was $246,000, and we were at a median of $139 a foot. In 2020, we went from 982 to 1141 transactions. 275 was our median price and $149 a foot. 2021, we went up to 1240, median price $350. Median price per foot, $191. 2022, 1,230 transactions. Median sales price for 2022, $412,000. So that was over a $60,000 jump from 2021 at $350. But if you look at 2019, you went from $246 to $275 to $350. So another big jump from $275 to $350 in 2021, and then another big jump from 2021 to 2022 at $412. That was our highest year for Bastrop County. In 2023, we had about the same number of transactions as 2022, very close, 1237. Median price went down to $373,000 in 2023. So down from 412 to 373, and still higher than 2021, 2020, and 2019. In 2024, we had transactions 1,338, and the median sales price was $360, around $201 a foot. So we're closest now. We are at, in 2024, where did I put that? Just had that. 2024, 1283, 348 as our median, and around 200 per foot. So we've gone down from 2024 to 2025 to 348. We're probably closest in line with 2021 numbers. So we have seen things cool back down. And where did we start with the year? That's what I just said. We started out the year with, in January, our inventory, our medians our median is 400. So our median asking price right now is 400. Our median sales price for 2025 was 348. Okay. Now, I've been listening to several things. There's been different ideas. The word of 2025 for everyone in Washington was affordability, housing affordability. How do we get there? There's been several things that have been discussed. There's a couple things that I'm going to go over. This is not an opinion piece or anything like that, but I just want to put everything in perspective from some of the things you've heard. I was listening to a podcast and they brought up capital gains, and I find this kind of fascinating. So the capital gains limits are, if you live in a home and you sell it and you're a single person and you make anything over $250,000 in profit, that amount is subject to capital gains tax. So you buy a house for $200 in 2020 and you sell it at $400. And so you have that, whatever that, I should have done better numbers. Let's do 500 because that's easier. So you buy a house for $250, you sell it for $500. Anything over that would be subject to capital gains taxes. Sorry for the little math there. And then if you're married, it's $500,000. So if you bought a home back when homes 10, 15 years ago, chances are real estate, your value has gone significantly up. So what we're having is people aging in place because they are over that 250 or that 500 mark. Even if they do want to downsize, the profit on their property, mind you, they've been living there for a very long time, is subject to capital gains tax. So when did the numbers 250 and 500 come about? When did they put those limits? Any guesses? 1997. So that is when they decided that if you made over 250 on your property, that the rest of that was subject to capital gains tax, or 500 if you were married. Do you know what the median sales price in the United States was in 1997? Any guesses? I see a couple of you watching. I wonder if my grandma knows. She's watching. She started her business in 1987. The median sales price in the United States was between $145,000 and $146,000. Back then, anything over 250 profit was significant, and anything over 500. But the median sales price back then was between $145,000 and $146,000, and our 2025 median home price is in the low 400s. FHA limits have gone up. Other things have been adjusted to to keep in line with inflation as well as housing prices going up, which you should in building equity. I think it's interesting that that number hasn't been addressed. So food for thought with that one. Now, the other headline that has been in the news a lot is about the large investors and banning institutional, what do they call it? Institutional investors from buying single family residences. So I've listened to a lot on this, and there's some very opinionated people on the podcast about this because in their mind, it's not a big issue. Why is that? Well, from research I could tell from listening to them and what I've looked up, your large investors, your institutional investors only own 2.4% of U.S. homes. 2.4%. So it's not a very high percent. So it's one of these things you get really excited about. It sounds really good, but who do they mean by large investors? What does that mean? Institutional. How many homes do they own? So then I dug a little deeper. Now, everything is regional when it comes to real estate. You've got your national and you've got some things that keep in line with that, but you have your local markets. That's why, that's what I'm studying is our local markets. Bastrop, Texas. Those larger investors have higher percentages in the following states, which is Texas, Georgia, Florida, Arizona, North Carolina. Okay. But still, the bulk of investors for single-family residences in the United States are small investors. What does that mean, small? Small investors are people that are investors that own less than 10 properties. So, and that accounts, according to the percentages I can find, of the 100% of investors, this is investors, that's 70 to 85% of your investors in the United States. They own less than 10 homes. Median is a huge amount. It's like 10 to 100. They call this medium investors. So that covers quite a bit, right? 10 to 100 homes. That came in at 10 to 15%. And your large institutional investors, the corporations buying the homes that own over 100, that's 3 to 8%. So that's still when you're looking at investors, what are you looking at? What do they mean by that? I still don't know what metrics they're using, but that's what I was able to put together. But by far, most investors in the United States own less than 10 homes. Now, there was a time in Texas in 2021 that 28% of our sales in 2021, according to this statistic, 28% of those were to investors. So, doesn't mean necessarily large investors, but those homes were being sold to investors. If you were selling real estate in 2021, you know that when we ramped up and we had those low interest rates, it was getting very difficult for buyers because they were going up against all cash offers and investors. That was the peak. That was 28% of homes sold in 2021 were to investors. Sorry, my nose itches. So just food for thought. It's kind of digging. You see these great headlines and the ones that grab attention and the ones that sound really good or the ones that you're not sure about, and you just need to dig a little deeper. All right, I'm going to move on. Like I said, this is my second time doing this. I wanted to take a look at mortgage rates, and I went back 10 years on mortgage rates to kind of give us an idea of where we are. And I'm not going to go through them again. I do have a chart here, so I'm just going to kind of hit the headlines. So in 2016, we were at 3.8. We went into the fours until 2019. In 2020, we went to 3.4. In 2021, we were at 3.2. So all those years, from 2016 to 2021, you were below 5 and above 3 for the average. Okay? Those were good low interest years. They got really low in that 2021, 2022. That's why some people are sitting on those low interest rates and not wanting to make a move. In 2022, in January, we were at 5.5. Okay? So you're seeing it. January 2022, we were at 5.5. I can remember when the interest rates went up, and it was around July. of 2022. In January of 2023, we were at 7. January 2024, we were at 6.6. January of 2025, we were at 6.9, almost 7. And right now we're sitting at 6.1 to 6.2. We went below 6 for just a few hours, like 5.99, but we are starting out the year lower than we've started out since 2022. So there is a little bit of relief there. I know a lot of people think if we could just get them under 6, somewhere between 5.75 and 5.99, that might help some people that have been waiting to move to kind of make that move. I don't disagree with that. I think that's possible for sure. What do I think for 2026? I think we're going to see some improvement. I think we're going to see some transactions improve, the number of transactions improve, locally as well as nationally. I know that in the last 90 days, I'm getting a little more activity. I'm seeing more activity come through the office. It's looking promising. Do I think we're off to the races? Do I think it's just going to boom, boom, boom in 2026? No. I think and you don't really want that, because you kind of want it to gradually get back. It's just kind of, we've been stuck here for a little bit longer than I think we should have been. I put out a survey the other day about things to talk about, things to post about, things for me, to how I feel about and communicate with you, how to grow my business, how to be better in 2026. I feel like I've been kind of at the same place. I've been kind of stuck like the real estate market lately, and I kind of want to take it to the next level. I really love what I do, and I love that you're watching me, and I love that you trust me with referrals, and I love real estate. So I put that out there to try to see what y'all wanted to hear from me, to give me some guidance. So I really would appreciate it if you would do this survey. And by the way, it is anonymous unless you give me your name. I did ask for your contact information if you wanted to leave it. It's not mandatory. So I have no idea who's actually filling them out. So I said in my last one before it got deleted, if you say something really mean to me, I'm just going to assume that you're joking, okay, and teasing, because I don't know who you are. Happy 2026. First Monday market update. I'm going to plan on doing these every 2 weeks. Every week gets to be a little too much. If I miss a week, I miss a week, but I'm going to keep bringing them to you. Thank you for watching, and that's it. Have a great night. Bye.